What's going on? My name is Bobby K. I'm a professional landscape designer and installer, and this channel is dedicated to those who love landscaping, DIYers, and those who are interested in landscape design. If you got landscape questions, I got the answers. Today's question is very simple. We're going to learn how to landscape with ferns. Typically when you have a shady area, you're looking for something that's going to address one of three questions. Is it going to last? How much is it going to cost? And is it going to look good? I find that ferns are going to answer all three of these. So if you're like me, you're a visual learner. It sinks in a lot better when you see things versus just reading or hearing about it, right? I've created 3 different designs that are going to show you how to landscape with ferns. Without further ado, let's jump into the designs and then we'll come back. We're gonna learn a couple things. I'm gonna save you some time and money and we'll call it a day. So there you go, you got 3 different ways to landscape with ferns. Design number 1, we have 4 different ferns going on here, but what I want you to look at closely is how they're put together. Here's your pro tip. Pro tip for you is I want you to think about a cake because a cake has layers. So I want you to think about the different layers as different types of fern variety. Layer number 1 is gonna be one type of variety. Number 2, number 3, number 4, however many that you pick, I want you to stack the ferns up that hillside, and so it creates depth, different color, different texture. It's a lot more fun than just the same fern on a hillside. It's gonna look awesome. Design number 2, we got that Zen vibe going on. We have the nice cool arbor with the nice sofa lounge out there. We got the bubbling boulder as a focal point. What I want you to pay attention to is the ferns. We put the ferns on the outskirts. It's kind of a subtle way to incorporate ferns and take up some space so that your eye is not drawn to the ferns, it's drawn to that bubbling boulder and that cool arbor. Your pro tip for this one is use ferns to fill up space, but one way that you can still have them kind of pop is by putting something cool like a boulder or a planter or something in the space of the ferns. That way you still notice them, but they're a little more subtle. Design number 3, you could tell that we obviously went with color. These are a bunch of perennials that do well in shade, and I'm gonna put all of these perennials down in the description so you have a full list of what's gonna work in this space. And it may look like the same exact design as far as the ferns, but it's not. What I want you to pay attention to is that I put a foxtail fern in the middle of the planter as the focal point. So what I'm doing differently is instead of having the ferns on the outskirts, now I want you to notice the ferns by putting that foxtail in the middle, and it's like it highlights everything, and now the ferns are the focal point of the design versus the color that's going on. What I want you to learn from these designs is that landscaping with ferns is pretty simple and it's pretty cost effective. You don't have to buy a ton of them for them to fill up a space, and it can look really, really nice. If you like this, make sure you give it the thumbs up. If you got any questions, throw those down in the comments. And my question of the day is, which design do you like the best? If you'd like to dive deeper, go on my website. If you got any questions, throw them down in the comments. I always answer them. And if you haven't joined the BK crew, I'd love to have you. Consider subscribing. We're gonna have lots of videos coming out, lots of different tips and tricks and pro tips to save you time and money. So I'll see you on the next one.